Well, this is embarrassing. I made this whole video. Look, I'm deleting this thing. Delete. And I'm an idiot. That's all it comes down to. I recorded the whole thing. I have a new webcam that's ultra wide. You can see every pore on my face, and you can see far too much of the background. I need to work on it, including my fulfillment center over here. I'm going to get that tidied up a little bit. There's going to be a lot of Gemini mailers back there, just stacked up, massive stacks of books and Gemini mailers. I don't know. It's just going to be part of the process. I recorded the whole video and then realized the audio was going through the stupid webcam. So here we go with the correct audio now. And we're talking about making videos. How meta is that? A channel about making videos so that you can crowdfund your comic books. I'm doing exactly what it is I talk about. And why can I come up with so many videos on this topic? I don't know. But I've come to find out that I think the topic is less important than people getting to know you and hearing your voice. So I'm going to get into this. I think this is important. And this is going to signify, I think there's a shift happening on YouTube that's pretty notable in the comic book world. And I think you should know about it. So first, before we get into this, if you haven't backed Downcast, you can't back it anymore. It's gone. But you can go to Alterna Comics. This is alternaaccess.com. Links in the description below. And you can pick up, pre-order. It's shipping on the 8th, which is just later this week. 1/8/21. Downcast #1. This is the floppy regular issue edition. So check that out. Also, Fatals on Indiegogo. Link in the description below. All right, so I watched this video today. Let me tell you a quick story first. I went to a comic book convention. And I always, I'll look at who are doing panels. I'll look at who's in Artist Alley and if there are any artists or writers that interest me. And in this particular case, I saw some artists. There was one that was more interesting to me than the others. But there was these two guys I just kind of didn't care about. I saw them. I saw that they had careers, but I didn't care. They were low on my list of caring about their careers. But I went to a panel. Turns out these two artists, I won't tell you who they were, they spoke at the panel. And because they spoke on a topic that interested me, I was suddenly interested in what they were doing. They told little stories from themselves working in the comic books. They showed how to do some art, how to, digital art. And then after that session, I went over to their table in Artist Alley along with some of my friends, and we were buying stuff. I think one of my friends even bought an original art page from one of them. We were not interested beforehand. After hearing them, getting to know them a little bit, and hearing some of the stories behind their production, suddenly they became interesting. Now, does that mean that their art is not good enough on its own? I guess not. I don't think anyone's art is good enough on their own. You always have to give people a reason to give you a shot. Why is that Spider-Man sells so many books? It's because that people are already interested in Spider-Man. It's not those particular creators working on those individual books. So when you don't have a Spider-Man series, it helps to have people get to know you. And then second, they can get to know your work. I saw most of this live stream. I listened to it while I was at work. And in this live stream, you have Steve Jeppy, who's CEO? I don't know. He's the guy in charge of Diamond Distribution, talking with Dan Shahin. And they did this talk months ago when the pandemic started, and Steve Jeppy was closing things down. He closed down the entire comic book industry single-handedly. And now here they are looking at what exactly they did. Anyway, the reason why I think Steve Jeppy does these is because you can hear from him. You can hear his extremely positive spin on the whole shutdown, and you're more likely to agree with him. This is public relations at its finest. At least to the 317 people that watched this video, it was effective public relations, even though I think I still disagree on many factors, but that's okay. Something I found interesting, though, is some of the comic book shop owners that came onto the stream talked about how they transitioned from selling in person to using online to sell. And it wasn't just going online. It wasn't just a matter of making an online store. It was a matter of uh, talking to people online and using social media in a way that people are then interested in what it is that you're doing. I found that to be helpful. Uh, Joe Glass, in other news, same topic really, started a YouTube channel just recently, and he's only going to be talking about positivity in comics. Congratulations to Joe Glass. Cartoonist kayfabe is a way, heavily leaning into comic books. They look at books. I think if I were to break it down, I haven't seen a lot of their videos, but the ones I have seen, it's very much about the actual book that they're looking at, which is interesting. They talk about the print quality, they talk about all sorts of stuff, and it can be interesting. I'm not quite as into them as maybe your boy Zach is, but that's one end of the spectrum, and they actually get very consistent, good views talking specifically about comic books. Doug TenNapel has gone to the complete other end of the spectrum. When I started my channel, and still to this day, I tell people that my YouTube channel is really about the intersection of comics and politics, and what is in there in that intersection. Doug TenNapel has really leaned heavily into the politics angle of that, and to great success for his YouTube channel. He's got 271,000 subscribers in a matter of weeks, I think, maybe a month. He's been making videos in this vein. I'm shocked. It really is amazing, the growth that he's had. Now the question is, of all these channels that are out there, who's going to be converting the most people into comic book readers that are buying their comic books? Time will tell. But in this case, I actually think, back to the story I just told you about, I wasn't interested in those creators or what they were doing until I heard them and I started listening to what it is they had to say. Then suddenly I was interested in what it is that they're doing. I can't completely describe it. It's, explain it rather, but it is human nature. It's how we work. So don't feel discouraged if your art isn't good enough. Don't feel discouraged if you're writing and no one's reading your stuff. People have no reason to read it. You don't have your own Spider-Man to draw people in. What you have to do firsthand is make them interested in you, and then they might be interested in your comic books. So I'm curious in seeing how this plays out. And I see a lot of people out there, they are going on to live streams, from live stream to promote their comic books. I know that game. I have done it myself a number of times, and it can be a helpful method in selling your comic. But what is an even more effective method is having your own platform to say anything at all. And it really can be, I think, anything at all. What you want to look for is, first off, what is the demand for information? They're not demanding information about you. They're demanding information out there. Meet them there and provide them that service. 2, then let them know that you're also doing comic books. And 3, you're going to have some number of those people that are going to make the leap to back your book, buy your book, and help your career. So as I've seen this major shift, I think, in YouTube with the world of comic books, I see it shifting even more. I think there's been such a big shift. It's going to continue to move, and I think it'll be more pronounced as the weeks and months go by. I want to be a little bit more experimental with what kinds of videos I'm making and try and reach out to as many people as I can. This doesn't mean that things are really changing massively for me. It just means I guess I'm being a little bit more self-aware as to what people are demanding information about, meeting them there, and then giving them what they want. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you see this shift as a good thing? Ultimately, I think it is. It just sort of broadens, what it is that will work, for selling comic books, how to get regular people interested in comics. Don't forget to check out Fatal, back it if you haven't yet. We crossed 90K, and I'm coming up with a great 100K stretch goal. And then Downcast, only $1.99 right now on Alterna Comics. Pre-order it. It ships out later this week, it looks like. So I'm imagining next week people are going to start getting this first issue. Fantastic. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.